From the Fatheads Eyewear Studio in Indianapolis, Indiana, this is The Skinny.
Maybe I need to start in the trash truck business.
Don't rule it out.
But the steering is spokes on the wheel straight ahead. The steering's broken. Bridges takes the wheel and he goes, whoa, whoa.
He's airborne, and then I'm above him.
Inverted.
All at the same time. Yeah, you're just like, wow, that's a wild picture.
He gets behind the race car and he tells me if I'm good or not, and if I'm good, he'll go, perfect.
I hang up on the guy. I go, who's this? This is Deion Sanders. I go, yeah, nice try. See you later.
Bounce and then this insane roll. That thing sent it.
I hate qualifying. It's the worst. It's literally the worst thing you could ever do.
But I'm smooth and creamy like milk chocolate. Have you ever not saw a Hershey bar that did not look good?
Hi, I'm Tony Stewart.
I'm Mario Andretti.
I'm Johnny Rutherford.
I'm Angel Sampe.
I'm Travis Pastrana.
This is Antron Brown.
Hi, I'm Tom Patsis, and this is The Skinny.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to The Skinny. We have another great edition coming your way. Mr. Tom Patsis has joined us here in the studio. Thought I'd mix it up a little bit and introduce our guest first out of Cold Hard Art. We'll focus on that just a little bit. I'm Ken Stout. That is Mr. Rico Elmore. The track dude, Michael Young, is back there running the controls as always. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Glad
as
you're here,
always.
Michael.
Thank you, guys.
So Tom Patsis is in the studio with us. Cold Hard Art. I had heard of Cold Hard Art, didn't recall your name. He hits me last night at about 11 o'clock. He says, I got Tom Patsis coming on tomorrow at 4:30. I'm like,
Well, that's his work hours, by the way. That's the only reason I got to that.
the Cold Hard Art. I said, no clue who that is, but okay.
Perfect.
and then of course, I mean, I was literally fading off, and then of course we chatted this morning. I was like, oh yeah, I know, I've heard of that guy, because there's a couple of people over there in that complex, the original Bill Simpson building.
Yep.
That Dave Ham's over there, buddy of mine. There's a couple of guys over there. Yeah. Weed over there, and so just chatting with those guys, your name pops up, and I'd heard about the trophies, and I'd seen some of the trophies, and I was like, oh yeah, it'd be cool to have that guy on. And we have one sitting here in the chair. Can you focus on Michael? We don't know his name here or her name. Identifying as a snail here so far, but clearly started off as a turbocharger and has changed over the course of time. Now has grown some eyes, but we'll show you a bunch of stuff that he does here, but that's some of the creative stuff that you do. And do your wheels turn a little different in there?
No, I feel like I'm compared to most artists. I've learned that I have a 50-50 mindset, which is rare for an artistic person, because obviously usually you pull from one side of your brain and you don't care about money and business. But I've learned that I'm actually pretty good on both sides, meaning I can actually run a business, right? And the art side is obviously still there. I'm the goofiest person you're ever going to meet, and stuff like that. But it's I I probably have a brain of just a ball of metal spinning 100 miles an hour, shooting metal off, sticking it, and you probably don't want to see what's going on up there.
I saw, obviously, went on the website and saw some of the pictures of you doing your work, and pretty intricate stuff, and your ability, obviously, to melt metal must be extremely good, because a lot of it is really thin and tiny, and some of it's thick, and when you got to blend those two combinations, it takes a bit of skill.
A little bit. I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm the greatest welder in the world. I know there's some of the greatest welders in the world, but I used to build Top Fuel cars. Actually, I started work in this building here 20 years ago. That's why I'm really excited to be here.
Really?
Yeah. So 20 years ago, I walked to the front door and got my job at John Schumacher Racing.
Oh, okay.
So then obviously I did that for a while. I worked on Antron Brown and Angel's Pro Stock bikes. And then when they sold the bike team, I moved to the fab shop. And then that's when I learned how to actually build stuff nice, right? Because a lot of metal artists kind of just do whatever they want to do, and they don't think of safety and structure and how to build stuff and just the knowledge of tools, and sometimes but I learned how to build race cars, and they go 330 miles an hour and kill somebody if you do it wrong.
Sure.
So even though this is just a trophy, it still has the structure that I could beat you to death with it, and you're going to be hurt. It's going to be fine. But knowing that it's built correct makes me feel good. But also too, like you said, somebody who knows welding or how to build stuff, they look at the details of things.
Well, look at Michael, it's actually a two-piece. So if Seb was to pick this up,
It would fall.
We had Sebastian
Oh,
Bourdais
it
on
would-
here. He
yeah,
tried to pick it up, and the
yes,
top of it
yes.
fell off, and it was made of glass, so it
That-
crystal and it broke.
As a trophy person now, I've seen that video and that to me, of all my friends that are in this business, that is the epitome of the worst feeling you could ever get. Is you pick this up and it falls apart. I mean, obviously it's got 6 bolts, it's welded together. Like I said, I'm not worried about this. I'm worried about what it hits. But that video haunts me. And I had to talk with somebody going, if that happened to me, the doors would show, everything I would erase everything off the internet. I would move to Alaska. That's how bad that would feel for
I
me.
mean, literally, all he
Gone.
wanted to do was shake the guy's hand, but he had no idea it was 2 pieces, and he does this, and the top just slowly tumbles over,
It's glass.
and he watches it go. It's like, oh, man.
Well, I like that. Well, if we see his
Let's-
logo on it, then we can shake it up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Does
we
it,
can grab that
everything's-
thing and flail it around.
Yeah. Let's move on to something else. I don't like even thinking about
All right.
trophies falling apart.
All right, Tom, of all people, wants to take a quick break. So
Yeah.
we'll take a break, and we'll be right back on the other side. How are you doing, Michael?
Very good.
All right, see ya.
Right here's where I met Antron Brown. He dropped his keys, and I picked him up, and he said, "Thanks, Big Daddy."
The Skinny is brought to you by Fatheads Eyewear. Fatheads Eyewear, hardcore since '04. And American Coach. Innovation is our life force.
Welcome back to the Skinny. You are looking at some of the artwork there from Cold Hard Art, and it's the inspiration that Tom has put inside of these things that is pretty wild. A ring gear, the inside of a turbocharger, obviously the wrenches, nuts, rod. What is that?
It's a roller rocker.
Oh, roller rocker. I didn't see those under your hand. How heavy is it, Rico?
It's heavy. You could do some damage.
I mean,
It's
50
somebody
pounds. I mean, a ring gear alone.
all day.
Yeah.
All day, 50 pounds.
I like making heavy stuff. Like the last trophy I just built was 66 pounds.
Is that a balancer, Dan?
I know my buddy Wayne Dressel sent that to me, so I just used it. It was this
Got
part.
Jessel on it.
Yeah.
And
I like the
obviously more
picture.
nuts welded to the bottom of it there, and the welding job is. It's so unique. That is the beauty of it. You know.
I like.
I don't know. I guess you.
Now I'm gonna try to move this back.
It's good. It's a pretty good table you bought
Yeah.
there, pal. Hold
Yeah,
that thing there.
nice. Good deal.
Good.
So what got you started in it? I mean, I know you were in drag racing. You moved. Let's start that way. How did you get out here to begin with?
I think I watched a race on TV in Maine. I'm from Maine, Massachusetts. When I was 10, I watched some NASCAR race, got into cars. My car friends or my friends in school were all in cars. I got into cars, whatever. And we all went to the University of Northwestern Ohio. So we did the
Okay.
big, like,
Yeah.
1,500
Yeah,
mile trip.
UNOH.
The 4 of us out to Uno. I wanted to get into racing somehow. I'm not rich. I don't have any connections. So I was like, well, we'll go to school and actually start, trying to get in the circle of racing. So having education is a good thing.
So
Actually,
you went out there, start there.
Yep.
Did you take their accelerated racing program or whatever they and then did they have that at that time?
when I went was 2000, 2003. So the program was obviously active, but it wasn't as big as it is to now. Like I'm totally jealous of the kids that have it now.
It's
It's
unbelievable.
massive. It's
UNOH.
it runs the city of Lima there. Like it brings all the people in. And so obviously I went there for 3 years and I knew one person, my buddy Caleb, that worked in this building 20 years ago and said, hey man, they're gonna need to get some more guys in here and they love the guys from Uno. So hey, bring your resume in. And I remember walking in the front door here, nervous as hell, and go here, and about a month later I got a call and I had to come in one of these offices in here and talk to Lee Beard. And I worked on the Macro Tools funny car. So that was where it all started in this building. So yeah, it was one of those leap of faith. Like when you live in Maine and you move all the way to Ohio, you spend a bunch of money to go to school with 3 of your friends and hopefully it works. And I feel it have. So, but that's where the racing. So I've always loved racing. I don't care about anything about any other sport. Like it's just race cars. And
But you get here and you start working on what first?
I actually, first I was working on the Macro Tools funny car. And then
Wit?
Whit Bazemore up with Lee Beard. And so there was 9 guys on an 8-car team, and I'm the newest guy. So they go, well, we don't want to fire you, but we can't, budget wise, we really can't have 9 guys. And you're the new guy, so we have to. So for 5 minutes, I was unemployed. And he goes, well, we're going to give you a choice because we really like how you work. You're very determined. And we want to keep that in this building. So you can either work on the Pro Stock motorcycle team Or you can work in hospitality. And go, well, I went to school working on vehicles. I've never worked on a motorcycle, but it's an engine with wheels. Same thing.
So the motorcycles were.
That was the Pro Stock motorcycle team of
That was
Antron and Angel.
Angel and Antron.
Yep. And so they were in the back corner here of the
And
shop.
Beard, I haven't seen Beard in years now. My son
fishing.
raced with his son, Zach, and Beard's a close friend.
Yep.
So we walk over to the other side because he's wanting to look around. We walk over there and he's like, right here's where I met Antron Brown.
Yep.
He dropped his keys and I picked him up and he said, "Thanks, Big Daddy."
Yep.
I said,
Yep.
"That's Antron." Totally.
That's him, right?
No,
there.
that's it. And he was in my shop yesterday,
So-
talking about his wins and stuff.
So you start on the Pro Stock bikes,
Yep.
which was very successful.
Yeah, they did pretty good. We didn't win any championships with it, and I'm a very honest person. We did not win the U.S. Nationals, but it was okay because I had a great time for 6 years. Drove the truck, worked on the bikes, learned how to fab stuff. And
That in itself is hard to believe.
yeah, I know.
That he
we
did
won a
win
lot of races.
championships, won a lot of races because they were tough, the Army team,
Yeah,
and didn't win the U.S. Nationals,
yeah,
and both tough riders.
yeah. I didn't win the U.S. Nationals. Antron has won it many times. I think Angel's won it. I haven't when I was on the team, so I want to clarify that.
Oh, okay.
That one, I'm the unlucky dime. I think that.
It's the dirty
I
thing.
didn't win a championship with the thing, but that was for those 5 years that I was there. We didn't win it, but we did win a lot of races and set some records, and I obviously made a lot of friends. And that kind of turned into when they sold the bike team after a couple of years of having different sponsors. When Antron and Angel went to go do different things, I moved into the fab shop, and then that's kind of full circle where we get into building stuff. And I've always been creative, always like to draw, and I always like to have things that people don't have, right? Like
Fab shop there, here, or both?
a fab shop, not here. I helped out here a lot with Chavez in the middle section of this building where they had a small where they mounted funny car bodies, but that was it. They didn't build chassis and the header pipes like they do on the in the Brownsburg shop. That's right across the street from my shop. So I don't go too far from anything. I'm always like right there because location's always a good thing. So but yeah, moved to the fab shop, build chassis, build bodies, put 35 funny car bodies together. Those guys seem like they were destroying every week, and that's just normal. I mean, you know that 10,000
That
horsepower.
many cars.
They're gonna pop a
Stuff
body.
goes wrong.
Yeah. And it turns into. It's amazing how strong those bodies are. Y'all could stand on the body, barely make it move, but it goes up in the air and it just turns into paper and confetti. And you're like, we hope you destroy it because if it's halfway broken, you have to fix it.
Then we got to put it back
Not just level it.
together.
If you level it, it's
all
it's
that
done.
carbon fiber
Just
and
get the
stuff
next one.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh man,
It always
itching,
itches.
scratching.
It always itches right there.
Oh man, never fails. We're gonna take a quick break here. We'll be back with more.
True story. There you go.
What do you think? Any truth to that, Tom?
Nah, he's gonna disappear. He's gone.
Dude, Wendy's coming in for you.
Welcome back to the Skinny Tom. Pastis on the show with us here from Cold Hard Art. And as it turns out, I don't know about you, Rico, but it seems like all of us have some sort of little tie with Lima, Ohio. I actually worked for a guy back in my early 20s when I was driving a truck. His name's Joe Miller, and they lived there. His brother was there, and I believe ended up owning a McDonald's at the amusement park that's not too far away. Big amusement park over there. But,
That's Cedar
Cedar
Point.
Point?
Cedar Point. Yeah. So that's my little tie-in. And then Michael, you said
Well, I grew up 8 miles west of Lima in Delphus, Ohio, the center of the universe near Lima. It's how we used to always,
the center of the universe.
Center of the universe, Delphus is, but we would go a trip to Lima as a kid was like packing up for like a month. My mom would pack bags and we would drive 8 miles to go to Lima because we would go to the McDonald's or Burger King. And then we'd go to the Lima Mall and Lima Center for everything under the sun because it was right there with the Lazarus and all the fantastic stores that we had. But there's a little hamburger place in Lima called Kewpie Burger. And it is rumored that Dave Thomas ate at the Kewpie Burger and thought, well, this is a neat idea. Dun, da, 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 and opened Wendy's. True story. There you go.
What do you think? Any truth to that, Tom?
Nah, he's gonna disappear. He's gonna be gone.
Dude, Wendy's coming in for you.
He's gonna be in the
Dave
burgers.
may be not around anymore, but Wendy is.
Yeah.
There's a Dave Thomas. His son Jared Thomas is a MX5 champ, so
Nope.
not the same guy, but
Yeah.
Dave's still around.
Good story.
enough. Sounded good. We wouldn't have known the difference.
It's so funny.
So you get out here and you start working in the fab shop. When do you decide that, you know what, did you start moonlighting doing this
Oh
stuff?
yeah, I for 5 years while I was working at DSR, I would go home. So my day was 8 to 6, 7 o'clock at Schumacher, and then from 7 to like 2 a.m. for 6 years, I would just build some art, not trophies yet. I didn't get into trophies, but build cars. I like building. I really like building replicas of race cars because I built 500 models as a kid, and Legos was a big toy for me.
Those
to play with.
models are unbelievable. We'll have to show some B-roll of that, but those things are unbelievable. The metal cars.
Yeah, I saw some of those pictures. So do you literally
It's all by
start
hand.
off with a piece of flat metal and shape it and mold it? And
No, there's no CNC, there's no computer. With my cars, it's all in my hands. It's all these right here, and it's me with eyeballs. I don't have any kind of ability to scale it other than just comparing things to other things. Everything is just sometimes
you
I'm
don't have a
privileged.
mold, you don't have a
No.
jig or anything like that to
No.
go if it's just your creative.
It is all just me drawing lines on tables and just starting to do poster board templates. That's the biggest thing, because how easy is it to cut a piece of cardboard compared to, oh, I screwed up a piece of sheet metal, it took me an hour. You cut poster board and you make like the doors and the hoods and everything, like just to prep everything before. It's just, and then I have templates. If you want a 69 Camaro or if you want a sprint car, I can easily go and just find my little bag of poster board templates, and then I have my works done for me. It's always the first one's the hardest, like anything. But I still always handcraft every single one. So
I'd take a sledgehammer to it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing here would be like
Yeah.
smashing it.
these
This thing
things,
here, I might have a chance, but those cars that he's talking about,
Oh, they're
there is
unbelievable.
They're
no
fun.
way, dude.
So
How much time does it take you to build one of them?
about 30 to 40 hours. I'm very quick at doing stuff, so I can't. Some people like would take a year to build something. I'd jump off a bridge before I took a year to build something. 'Cause when I start something, I have to finish it before I start that or this or that. It has to be done, and stuff like that. So it's just I like doing it, but it's getting harder to build cars because I'm in the trophy business now. So my last car that I built right now was for Mario Andretti for Christmas last year. So that's a cool person to make it for.
Pretty good one to
For
step
one
off.
car. Yeah, that's a good name drop right there. But
Well, it's a worthwhile
a
thing.
lot of trophies.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, something that's getting something for somebody that can have anything they want.
Yeah.
that's right.
And you get them something like that, and it is a piece of art. And
Well, it's so unique. There's not another one in the world.
And I feel good that I could do that for him, because funny little random fact is in 1981 when he won the Indy 500, and then a couple months later with some lawsuits and stuff that happened about
Uncle
timing,
Bobby.
Bobby got it the day that basically he had to give that the title and trophy and everything back was the exact day I was born. So I feel like, the day that I was born, 1981, October 8th, was my birthday. The day I was like, popped out. Here you go. He had to give back his second Indy 500. So I felt really bad about that I did that to him. So giving him this car as a gift
That
from,
you
from
did that to him?
that made me feel like we're cool.
If it
Again-
makes you feel any better, he still wears that ring proudly.
Oh,
You know
he
that?
didn't give the rim back?
Oh, no.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh no, right here.
So where do the catalysts come for you? When you start thinking about doing a trophy or something, where is your catalyst? Where do you think, does something just pop in your head? Do you try to do something different every time? How does that work?
Well, there's probably 19 things in my head when say you guys come to me and say, hey, we want to put on the skinny 500. The first thing, if I've never met you and I don't know anything about your band, I would research like what is the skinny, what fat heads, what is all this stuff, and I'd go, okay, so glasses is your thing, and a microphone is your thing, and what's the event? No, it's a drag race, it's a sprint car race, whatever. So like I try to grab as much information, because information is what actually creates the art. Like I am just the guy welding it. I'm not that important to this situation, but knowing that what's your colors, what's the theme, is there branding, can we bring stuff together? Like, if you have sponsor, but your sponsor's red and your logo's, blue, how do we make them work together? And, all these things that, so that's where that 50-50 mindset comes in, because sometimes artists just go, well, I'm going to do what I want and you're going to like it, or have no relativity to what the concept is, just do what you want. For mine, I'm able to pull from one side of my brain, the logical side of doing, things that make sense to you and what you're asking for. And then going, well, you come to me to be creative. I'm gonna give you something fun. So when I draw you a trophy, which I don't do CAD, I just hand draw stuff in colored pencils and sit there, and I usually draw 3 or 4 different renderings, and I try to draw one that I think you'll like, one that I personally like, and then like 2 others that are totally 180 apart in design. Maybe skinny and tall, maybe short and fat, maybe rectangle, you know, one that themes off your logo or whatever. So you have 3 or 4 different choices when it comes to like a big dollar trophy. You know, if it's $100 car show trophy, you can't spend that much time on it. But again, that's that logical side. It depends on what the budget is. So there's a lot to it. And a lot of it's just simple logic. It's not really creativeness. You know, my mom was an artist, and she thinks kind of artsy. And my dad's very logical, and he could fix anything. If you're on the side of the road, you'll get home if my dad's in the car with you. You know, it may not be perfect, but you're going to get home. So I was privileged to have that in my head, that my wife does not like that it's called the golden brain, right? She hates that, right? Oh, great. The golden brain's talking again. So, but that's kind of where all
so
that,
good.
where the whole concept of an origin of a trophy would come from, is a lot of stuff.
We'll have more from the golden brain whenever we get back.
The Joe Theismann thing was mild in comparison
Yeah.
to what
His
happened.
legs
dude.
swell up from infection and all. I learned everything about it afterwards, and I was holding it. And I go, I sure as hell hope they clean this.
Big hammer, little hammer. That's the way it rolls right there. They should get welcome back to the Skinny, by the way. Tom Pastis on the show with us in the studio. He's the creator of these items that we have in here, and he has a ton of them. There's a lawyer in the Indianapolis area. You can't come through here without seeing
He is
a billboard.
nationwide.
Is he nationwide?
Daryl Isaac's the hammer.
The hammer. There you go.
That would be right there.
That's right there. That's got to go to the hammer.
I don't know if he could pick that up. I don't know if he could get
He has
that.
to, he has to be worthy.
Tell us
He
what
could
you
get the
make.
little one.
Yes. But then he wouldn't be the big hammer.
Right.
He'd be the little hammer. What? Tell us what that's made of.
That's honestly just one. The hammer face of it or whatever is just kind of a box tubing. But the part that made me want to build it was a buddy. A lot of people bring stuff by my shop, just, oh, here, use this, make something out of it. And the handle is a jack shaft out of like a Boeing 747 that moves like the tail shaft. So it's all screw operated. So it's it's really nicely machined, and it's hardened steel. And I go, you know, that'd make a cool Thor hammer. That day that he brought it was the day that it got all assembled. And I was just making it for fun, like the flower, and obviously not trophies, but random stuff. Like I just build for fun, put it on the shelf. And if someone wants to buy it, great. It doesn't matter. But I was going to sell that hammer. And then Jessie Combs came by my shop. She's a friend of ours for a long time. I've known her. And we did some just stupid photos, like holding the hammer up and stuff like that. And then a month later, she passed away. So then it became a Jessie Combs hammer, right? So now it's priceless, right?
Yeah.
I rarely ever leave the shop type thing. But then I thought it'd be kind of fun to do is take photos only with important women or powerful women, or however you want to say it, but only women, right? Sure. And so like Angel and Angie McBride and Eric Enders and Danica Patrick and all these women, I have photos with them holding this hammer.
I love it.
So when I'm dead and gone, my daughter can have something that's documented as all these really cool women.
Well, she already has it. She already has it right now.
And then she has a baby
flip
version.
over there to that.
Yeah, then she got a baby version of it.
Got the baby in.
So, but it's just, I thought that was kind of fun to go, maybe I'll leave that for her as like an heirloom, that she's got photos of really cool women, you know, holding this hammer that's hers. And I thought, well, now I can't do anything but keep taking
You
pictures.
carried that big one in here, Rico. How heavy was that?
It's heavy. Yeah, it's heavy. I mean, I'm not Thor heavy, but I understand this. It's very heavy. But no, it's super cool. And listen, he and I, you know, we knew each other through other people for years, and then we met each other a few years ago, and we both collect junk stuff.
Correct.
And like he came in to the old studio, and I was showing him around. He's like, "Oh man, this is awesome." Then I end up out at his shop. I'm like, "Wow!" Like looking around at everything. It was super cool in that regards, and the amount of talent, and I mean the people that trust him with things to do things with. Tell us the Alex Space story and how that all went down.
Oh, the one thing that doesn't do anything for me, but it's really popular.
But it's
Yeah.
it's cool how somebody would
Yeah.
entrust you though with
Absolutely,
that important of a thing.
So obviously I'm on Instagram and you get the direct messages. So this lady, Liz Smith, messages me and says, "Hey, my husband broke his leg and he's got this, fancy halo brace. And I want you to maybe make something out of it." And I asked her, "Well, how do you even find it?" She's like, "I typed in hashtag metal art and I went through all of them and I saw a couple of pieces of your art and I like the style, the concept of it." So that's that's how she picked me, is just a hashtag, right? And she goes, "All right." And she sends it to me and I go, just mail it to me and I can look at it because I don't know if I can create what you're asking for. And she wanted a phoenix, right? Like the bird rising from the ashes, because like obviously he's broke his leg, should have lost his leg, and now he's back on the field, right? Amazing story, right? And so,
And at the time, you didn't quite know who it was,
I
right?
had no clue who she was, and I didn't look at it. So eating pizza in my shop one day, a box shows up, and the halo brace is all assembled. And my wife pulled it out, and she goes, "What the hell is this?" And I look at it, and I'm like, "What the hell is that?" Like, at first I thought it was like a go-kart wheel, and I saw it's got like a beadlock pattern. It's got multiple holes on it, and I go, "Oh, it's a leg brace. Oh yeah, it's the leg brace the lady wanted me to make something out of." And she goes, "Well, who is it?" I was like, "Oh, it's Liz Smith." And she looks at her Instagram and she goes, "Her husband's Alex Smith." And I'm like, "Who the hell's Alex Smith?" Right. And he goes, "He's a football player." And I was like, "Cool. Does he know Jimmy Johnson?" Like, does he know somebody cool? And she goes, he's a quarterback of let me say it right, the Washington football team. I'm old school, so
the Redskins.
Yeah, Redskins. So whatever. And I go, she's like, "That's a really big deal." And then
Does he know Jimmy Johnson? though?
and so this thing is sitting on my table. I go back to eat my pizza because I'm just like, whatever. And then Bobby Logano walks in, another drag racer. He comes in and he just, I don't know how he even knows it. He goes over and he picks it up and he goes, "Is this what I think it is?" And I'm like,
Bob Logano.
"Yeah." Yeah. He goes, "Yeah, it's a leg brace." He goes, "No, it's this Alex Smith's. I just watched his 30 on 30. I'm like, "How the hell do you even know that?" He goes, "Dude, his leg
Bob would know something.
Yeah,
like
he's
that.
all
That's
he's
Bob.
all about those things." And he goes, "Yeah, you should see his leg. It was like the Elephant Man. It was just horrifying." And I saw it and I'm like, "Oh my God."
Like the Joe Theismann thing was mild in comparison
Yeah.
to what
His
happened.
legs
too.
swole up from infection and all that.
Yes.
I learned everything about it
Yeah.
afterwards. And I was holding it and I go, "I sure as hell hope they clean this." Because part of it does go
That's
in.
the first thing I thought
Yeah.
of to pull out of the box. I'm sure that the thing is surgically cleaned.
Don't do anything to it.
Yeah.
Put it in the box.
Yeah.
Shipping it out.
Yeah. So then I came up with the idea, said, "Hey, how about instead of making the Phoenix, which I don't think I have enough to make, let me make a skeleton version of the Vince Lombardi trophy." And I had to learn how to say that because I was calling it Vance Lamborghini. And you go, because Vince Lombardi.
Right.
So yeah. So
By the way.
so when I say Vince Lombardi wrong too?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why I had to learn. I had to learn it. Yeah. And it was funny. And everybody thought it was hilarious because I know nothing about football. Right. And so then 7 hours later, I build this thing for her, whatever. And she goes, "Oh, I love it. It looks amazing. It looks like the trophy and it's perfect." And I put all the parts and the spare parts in a box. And I mailed back to her. Well, when she got it, she gave it to him for Christmas or whatever it was. But then Alex,
Because he had went back. He had made it back in the league.
yeah.
And fought tooth and nail to get back. That was his whole thing was, "I'm going to come back. This is not going to be the end of me."
Yeah.
And he fought tooth and nail to get back when he almost literally, like he said, lost his leg.
Yeah. And so then the day after, she posted the picture on Instagram, and I'm not joking, the Monday or whatever day it was after, you would have thought I cured cancer because I had to do every single news agency in the. I had to do one with the TMZ, People Magazine, Newsweek. All the TV stations had to come out there and film this.
ESPN.
I got good. I felt like a NASCAR driver. I was just saying the same thing over and over and over. Right? I was just really good at it, and that's why I said I wanted to at least learn how to say Vince Lombardi and not Vance Lamborghini. Look like a full idiot. But they really thrived off of. I had no clue who he was. I wasn't like a fanboy, got all excited. I talked more to his wife about kids and having kids than I did her husband. I think she liked it because most guys want to talk about my husband and his football, and I go, it's nothing, unless he drives like a NASCAR, I don't really care to even talk to him. And so either way, did that whole thing, and people were like, "Well, can we ask how much you charged him or charged her for him?" And I was like, "Well, I did it for free." And I just said, "Get my wife a signed jersey or something. That'll make her day. I don't care." So then So then she got her jersey that was signed, said your husband's a badass welder. And then they had one custom made for my daughter. It's this big. And then say, hey, your daddy's a very good person, you know, your nice stuff. And then they sent me one, and it's like, oh, cool. You know, like I don't collect these things, but it was super cool. It was say where the nicest, his wife is the nicest person in the world, super down to earth, and it was fun, and it was done with it, right? Thinking I'm done. And then all this news, and it was like, I joke with the last girl that came from the Channel 8, and I got done with the thing, and I go, can I go back to being a loser again? And she's like, no, it's just started. You're going to get, and I have gotten a lot of people wanting their leg braces turned into football trophies because of that. And I hate to say it, I've declined all of it because I go, I don't want to do anything in football. I know it's stupid as a business plan, but I like race cars. I only like race cars. Like, I don't want to be known for the guy that, oh, you made the football trophy for.
It's kind of a one and done.
Yeah, yeah. I don't.
I mean, you started here. It's like, where are you going to go anyways? But
I'm totally good with it.
I got to take a quick break. This is why we love getting the skinny on people. Wonderful story, dude. We'll be right back.
Man, your art's looking good. You're doing great. And then walk back.
You only got a little piece of sheet metal
Yeah,
left.
I have
You gotta
nothing
do.
about it.
The Skinny is brought to you by American Coach. American Coach. Innovation is our life force. And Fatheads Eyewear. Fatheads Eyewear. Hardcore since '04.
Tom Pastis is on the show with us. Cold Hard Art is the name of his business here, located in the Brownsburg, Indiana area. Just absolute home to mega race teams who love being out there. While we were at commercial break, you brought up something that happened on Netflix. Was it a contest that you had entered?
Yeah, I again with my Instagram. Instagram's where it's at for me, I guess. I got the message to say, hey, would you like to be on a show? This is a real thing. Don't think it's, you know, some scam. And I'm like, all right, whatever. I did the paperwork, and I got approved to be on the show with 6 other metal artists. And then we flew out to Los Angeles. During the pandemic, we were the first show to be allowed to film during that in LA, which was absolutely crazy.
I figured you're huffing the welding dust.
Yeah,
Everything
yeah,
else is going to be fine.
You'll be
Don't worry
fine.
about it.
That don't kill you, nothing will.
It'll be good.
So they did that, and it was like a bunch of different competitions, and I used a lot of my racer mentality, you know, because racers have a way of reading the rule books, right? So like one of the competitions was you have to use a 4x8 sheet of metal in your art, whatever, and it was supposed to be something that's spun. So my mind was thinking the whole time going, how do I get rid of all this metal? How do I get rid of so this is a huge shop, everybody's got little spots, and there's a community shear. And so I was like, I haven't used half my metal, and I'm not going to be able to use it. So I realized your sheet metal and your sheet metal looks just like my sheet metal. How are you going to tell me what's mine? So I'm going to go over to the shear and just stomp it all up and just turn it into splinters and not use it, right? And I go, crap, I still got a little bit left. So then I walked over to everybody's shop with a piece of sheet metal. I go, hey, man, Rico, your stuff's doing, you're looking great over there. And just walk away and leave that sheet metal there. Go do it to yours too. I'd leave a piece of sheet metal underneath a tool of yours and go, man, your art's looking good. You're doing great. And then walk back.
You only got a little piece of sheet metal
Yeah,
left.
I have
You gotta
nothing.
do.
Yeah, but you have more than you started with, right? But that's that racer thing. What's the rules? You didn't say how to use it. You just said get rid of it. And when you come over to my shop, my area, I don't got any more sheet metal, right? So, but and I was legal, but whatever. Either way, they didn't police the sheet metal that important. But that was part of that mentality of like, okay, what's the rules? You have to obey the rules, push them to the limit, and then build your art, right? Your art is almost secondary to what the rules are. If they're asking you to make, you know, a clown, okay, make a clown and then do it the way you want to, but make sure you get what they want, because I don't want to be disqualified before I even see my art. So wind up doing that whole show, wind up winning $50,000. That was super cool. And I never want to do it again. So yeah, like this TV is just, it slows you down, right?
There's a lot of racers that would be super proud of you right now.
Yeah.
Did you meet Jimmy Johnson?
I have not. I've done a piece of art for his pilot. He emailed my wife. That made her day. And she goes, make sure, talk to Keith. Keith works down at Hendrick, and go, make sure this email's real, because it just seems too Jimmy Johnson at jimmyjohnson.com. She's like, there's no way this is real. And he wants to buy a piece of art. And she goes, no, that's his email. So that made her day. But we made his personal jet that his pilot, you know, obviously flew. He retired. So then I made a plane. So that was cool. I've done that. And we do stuff for Hendrick Motorsports as like internal awards for the pit crew and stuff like that. So we do have a connection, but I have personally never met Jimmy Johnson. I'll probably meet Jimmy Johnson, the coach, and not know who he is before I meet Jimmy Johnson, the race car driver, you know?
That's how that works. Who the hell are you again, Jimmy Johnson? Do you know the real Jimmy Johnson? Yeah.
You know who the real Jimmy
Yeah,
is.
real Jimmy is.
He was here for a couple of years. He was driving there for Ganassi, so he was just a couple miles away from you at the
So
Speedway.
close. It was so close too.
Yeah, don't worry.
Great
We
dude.
couldn't get him on
He's
here
a
either.
great dude. He is exactly who he appears to be when they're interviewing him. Jimmy's a wonderful guy.
That is kind of a. I've learned about the sticker on the front of his car too. The one with Blaze Alexander's name, and that whole thing, and then obviously the number for everybody that was lost in the plane crash. And I go, and I guess somebody said if you ask Jimmy about how he feels about 83 wins, he goes, "Well, I've never won a race, but Blaze has." And I go, "Oh man," I was like, that got me all emotional because I didn't realize they were best friends, and that
Who was it again?
Blaze Alexander, he was him and Jimmy raced in the Busch Series. I'm so old about saying it's the Busch Series, and then the day that Jimmy made his qualifying and qualified for his first race at Charlotte, Blaze Alexander died. And I was like, wow, like I was gonna like cry reading this whole documentary about that. So then there's a BA sticker on the left front of Jimmy's car for every single race he's ever won, actually. So he always says that Blaze has always beat me to the line. I go, man, that's
I wasn't familiar with that.
yeah, that was something I just learned and I realized, but I didn't realize that one of his best friends died the same day that he qualified for his
Was
first
that in
ever cup
Hendrick's
race.
plane?
No, that was in ARCA car.
Oh, he got
Yeah,
killed in
yeah,
a market.
yeah, an ARCA car at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was tough, but it was before the Hans device, before all the the innovations with the
sure.
safety wall. So,
Yeah.
but they say that was actually what really kicked into the safety of not NASCAR but stock car racing on oval tracks. If, Dillner is given that when he passed away that was a big thing, but actually a Blaze was a big thing too because of his accident was pretty tough.
Want to get the skinny on other guests in different types of motorsports? Check out our YouTube page and get the skinny.
Welcome back to the Fatheads Eyewear Studio. We're here in Indianapolis, Indiana, the racing capital of the world. We love everything about that. Ken
Right
Stout,
down
Rico,
the street from-
Elmore. Yeah, right down the street
from Speedway.
that.
Was that what
Yeah,
I
that's right. Yeah, Speedway. Good job, pal. That's at least 2 for you, Ryan. Sorry, dude. Sorry, Tom. Tom Patz is here from Cold.
He's like, what are we doing here? What
Yeah.
happened?
Hey, man, let's talk about the people that you're building trophies for because Monster Jam, certainly no small name. Camping World, certainly no small name. Obviously, just 2 that you brought in here, but you've got the bigs calling you up, man.
Yeah, I don't know how that's happened. That's kind of one of those like wasn't ever like I want to be a trophy builder when I grew up as a kid. That was never a thought. It was get into racing and drive race cars, right? And that didn't happen. So the next best thing is building trophies. Like, yes, you still get to be part of the circle. So it's just I don't know where it started, but now we get to do stuff for like NHRA. We do all NHRA specialty stuff. I mean, do a lot of stuff for USAC and Monster Jam makes my daughter happy because she loves monster trucks. So that's just kind of a cool little benefit to that. We'll do the BC 39. That's going to happen this
awesome.
week. That's kind of cool.
You could have brought that.
Yeah. Well,
Is it
it's already gone. They already have
Oh, do they have it
they're in
already?
possession. They have possession of it. So, so that's kind of a cool thing. Anything Brian Clausen, I always like to be part of that because
Yeah,
sure.
he bought his first trophy that he put on his first event, the Shamrock Classic. So in 2016, he got the first one, helped design it, came by, picked it up, got to meet him. And then later that year, he passed away.
Very
So I wanted to really be a part of anything with him, and the whole part of donating parts of your bodies to save other people after you're gone is quite heroic and stuff. So that's cool. We just did the Supercross, the Monster Energy Supercross finals that they did. That was a cool one. It's hard to really think. We did all the SRX trophies, so that was really cool. Not just because it's just good business making money. It's all the legendary drivers that they pulled into that series.
Sure.
That I got photos with my art in their hands, like Bobby Labonte or Tony Stewart or even Marco Andretti. All these people that I go, man, how would I be able to get one of my trophies in their hands if they're retired or don't Ryan Newman and stuff like that was really cool.
Did you
for me.
do didn't you do the deal in Bradenton?
Which one?
Did
Oh,
you
yes.
do-
Yep. Did
yeah,
that
the
too.
Pro
for the
Challenge,
Pro
the-
Challenge race. So like Erica and Proc and everything like that. So like it's fun to see all my friends that I'm, drag racing is my world. All my friends get to hold this. And in theory, they want what I make because it represents them winning a championship or a race
Sure.
or a big money event. So it's really fun to see them hold up a championship trophy at the end of the year. Like this is a miniature version of it. Everything I make much bigger, but that's all another part of the business that I learned about is when you make trophies, sponsors, crew guys, car owners, you have to make replicas of it. So it's not just making
Oh,
one
okay.
trophy a year.
Sure.
It's making, like last year with the 4 championship trophies that I made for the 4 classes of NHRA, I wound up making 50 more of those trophies.
Wow.
You know, big size, little size. So
Very
it's,
cool.
as a business, it works out good for me because I still get to create, but my schedule of my year is almost full before the start of the year. It's like a racer's schedule of knowing what they're going to race. They already know that where they're going to be at the end of the year. I already know that I'm going to build USAC championship trophies and NHRA championship trophies, and Monster Jam has a ton of events and stuff like that. So as an artist, I'm not starving, right? Like I have a plan. I know what I'm going to do. And if you do a really good job, people come back. And if they want you to do the championship trophy or special events, and Feld is the one that owns the Monster Jam rights, and they put the show on. Well, they also own Super Energy or Monster Energy Supercross.
Yeah.
Right.
So they go, hey, could you make our trophies too? And I'm like, oh yeah, no problem. Like that's really cool. So
It's kind of like if you win the 500, you get a ring.
Oh, yeah. And
You
then,
know what he's
and
talking
then the
about.
rest of the team gets a ring.
Yeah, you know what he's talking about there, Michael.
Like if Scott Dixon would almost win the Indianapolis 500, but
And you're a
he
spotter.
on the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
last pit stop, and the
Sorry,
spotter
sorry, Tom, to loop you into my
the
pump
spotter-
over here that they decided to tail off of you and beat up on me for a minute.
well, you're supposed to pay attention when you do that spotting stuff, right?
Yeah, you were supposed to pay attention when you're spotting.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, that's a good. I was paying attention. I saw it all. Trust me, I saw every bit of it. I saw it.
No, we got a drive-through penalty. What?
I'll make you a spotter trophy or something.
The Skinny is brought to you by Fatheads Eyewear. Fatheads Eyewear, hardcore since '04. And American Coach, innovation is our life force.
There's a good look at some of the cold, hard artwork that Tom puts together. Great to have him in the studio here with us. Dude, your creativity is incredible.
Well, thank you. And I don't even do drugs or drink, so it's naturally aspirated, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not supercharged.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're in your brain, can you pick out a wildest trophy that you feel like you built?
the wildest trophy. That's a tricky one. Well, the weirdest thing I ever had to build was I had to build mosquitoes this big, and they got put into shifter balls, and then they were used for Jurassic Park car promo at a huge car event. That was kind of a weird thing. So that's the weirdest thing I built, was a replica of mosquito to be like, you know, the amber that caught the mosquito that they made the
I
dinosaurs
said in
from.
the beginning of the show that
That-
you did intricate stuff.
Yeah,
How
that was-
small were these?
They were, I mean, they were scaled as much as I could. I mean, I had to use the smallest tungsten. I mean, it was, I didn't have a magnifying glass, but I could probably used it. But that was the weirdest thing. The biggest thing, if you want to go that way, it's the smallest to biggest, because I can't think of what the weirdest thing is, but I got to make 2 giant 8s for Dale Jr. And that was used as a promo for his last race of the year in 2017 at Homestead when he retired, and NBC bought it, and it was meant to be put in his car graveyard, right, without him knowing it, and film this whole thing and talking about 4 words that were in each of the 8 that represented something that represented like integrity or respect and honesty and all that stuff. And so he wound up getting to keep that. But when they did that video, they showed me welding it, stuff like that. Well, somebody messed up and showed that video again during the last 5 laps. And they're showing Dale Jr.'s red car going around. And somehow the video of me welding with my big Chaw logo on my helmet, and it was on TV on the most watched NASCAR race of that year for 30 seconds. And the girl that did all that, she goes, yeah, you got a free promo for, that's probably like $1 million promo, because it was just me welding in slow-mo. And it was this massive cold art sticker. It was the whole entire thing. And they're talking about Dale Jr. while looking at this picture of my logo. And I go, what was that? And I get a text from, yeah,
It's wild.
yeah. So that
So
was
how big were the
7
8s?
foot tall. They were
7
you-
foot tall.
I could
Okay,
get
that's-
inside them.
That's big.
Yeah. So, and they're living in his race car graveyard somewhere. So
And real quick, you did stuff for Snap-on, which was
Yes.
pretty cool.
yes, I make Terminator hands out of tools, either holding a wrench, or the ones that I'm making already right now are going to hold a giant, the Snap-on S in there, but they're made out of probably $2,800 worth of tools, and I have to make 67 of them. and I love Terminator. So to get to use some of the greatest tools in the world, cut them up, weld them together, and make a Terminator hand, I mean, that's about as good as it gets for me. I get paid to do it too. That's crazy.
Awesome stuff. You've been a great guest, man.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you for having me.
Very, very cool. Yeah, and something cool for the skinny. We're all in.
Yeah. Maybe I'll make you a spotter trophy or something.
Yeah. Just make it easy. Make it a ring, and we'll call it a day. That's the skinny. I'm this guy, Tom Pastis from Cold Hard Art. If you need some trophies or something very, very unique in that world, look him up, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody any better. We'll see you next week.